World of Warcraft, a game filled with epic adventures, one that has captivated us for years, a game where we have built up some of the most awesome characters in, well, what our imaginations could comprehend. We have done so much in this game and enjoyed it for so many years. Honestly, like, I think it's hard to say that this isn't one of the best games of all time. I know when that conversation comes up, WoW rarely is picked for it. It's not normally some form of single player. Someone's put a few hundred hours into, maybe a couple of thousand points. But think of all the hours we put into this game. Think of how many good experiences we have in this game. I mean, it's awesome. There's so much we've been able to do over the years, where honestly, like, I can't deny that this is easily one of my favorite games of all time. Like, surely it has to be the top with how many hours I've put in. Albeit, you know, I have some disagreements with the way how things are going in the modern day with World of Warcraft. However, that is what this video is for. And I think before I really get into the nitty-gritty of everything, a quick little disclaimer I will say, and that is really that this video, I know a lot of my words are probably going to be taken as, oh, he's just hating the game, he thinks it's bad, he's a complainer, let's not listen to him, he should just quit the game because he's unhappy. If you're going to take my words like that, then I would advise just leaving the video and going back to your Twitter arguments. However, if you want to hear how me, a sort of very long-term player of World of Warcraft, feels about sort of current state of the game and how things have changed over the years, then hear me out, hear me out. This video is for me really giving my criticism of what's happening, and I just want to see things improve, really. That's the point of this video. I want to see the game get better and keep enjoying it as I have done for so many hours. I mean, hell, it's 141 days on what is currently my main, which I made in BFA when I swapped characters. And even then, this wasn't my main in BFA. This ended up being my main, I think in the Shadowlands is when I fully made the commitment for this character to become my main. Like, there's the OG Gnome Warlock as well I've got. There was the Warrior I played for quite a long time. Like, bro, I have so many characters in this game, it's crazy. But anyway, you're not here to listen to my roster of characters. You're here because, well, you saw a baiting thumbnail and title, which is going to talk about the state of World of Warcraft. So let's get into something more recent then, shall we? This absolutely baffling news. I'm going to show you a little excerpt of a new video that was put out. Give me 1 second. So this is official World of Warcraft stuff.
Welcome to a special edition of WoWcast.
Just try not to pause.
Patch 11.1.7 feature, and then a broader discussion about add-ons in World of Warcraft in general. I'm Dranos, World of Warcraft content creator.
Okay, no, I will pause here because I do want to say, as many people know, I'm a big advocate for, like, no add-ons in the game. I don't think any game should really be running add-ons. I understand mods for, like, single-player games to make things more fun. As you've cleared through it a few times, you're like, let's ramp it up. I mean, even Minecraft as well, which can do multiplayer, throwing mods and that, can be a very fun experience. But, one of my biggest grievances with add-ons as well is it's literally playing the game for you. Like, and I'm sure there's quite a few people actually listening, watching this video right now, who have some of these add-ons or WeCores, which tell you what to do as you're playing the game. And That just shouldn't be happening. Really, if you're booting up a game, you should be there to play it and enjoy it. If it's all being told to you, then what experience are you really getting? Where's the exploration and joy of going through the entire game? But anyway, let's expand on that here.
Leader of Team Liquid.
Pleasure to be here with you guys.
So,
Very excited to be here. So what are we doing in 11.1.7?
A whole bunch of fun stuff, but one of the features that we're extra excited about is a new UI option that we're adding called Rotation Assist.
And this is where the
really
problems
designed
begin.
To help players who are maybe picking up a new spec or want some guidance on what abilities they should be using when, without having to turn to third-party add-ons for it. So we
see, this is the thing. Heckley is what they're sort of addressing. Now, those who've followed me around for a while know my stance on Heckley. If you use it, I don't think you should be in a team because you haven't put in the basic effort to sort of play the game. If I just open up a new window of Google, if it will let me. But basically, you want to know how to learn a class? Yeah? Let's do something, let's do this easily, yeah? Yeah, max roll. I typed this in that much. For some reason it hyperlinks to Windwalker Monk. I don't know why, but hey, we send it. So click on class, like, let's do this from the top. We click class guides, we pick what class we want to play. Oh, I want to be a Arcane Mage, cool. So select spec, boom. Oh, here's a nice little raid guide written by, oh, an Echo player, awesome. One of the best players in the world. I can learn all detailed information. He's telling me how everything works. Great. Loads of talents as well. Easy. Boom. Rotation here. Get a nice little visual. Not too hard to follow. I can go to a training dummy. Learn this. Pretty easy. Quite a bit of text as well though. But you know, you could quite honestly probably just copy that and then get the main bulk of your damage going, you know. Of course, you know, there's a lot more writing to go through, and there's videos which will explain this a lot easier. I can assure you. There's also some videos which will overcomplicate it, but yeah. Albeit, I have picked one of the most writing-heavy guides out there, but you know, this is part of playing the game. This is part of playing any game. If you don't like that guide, oh, here's a method guide as well. Easy to follow. Just read. Just read. Tells you everything you need to know. Pretty simple. And then, you know, you want to optimize your stuff. Yeah. Let's go on Archon. Oh, we're raiding. We're doing we're doing normal Rick reverb tonight on my demo lock. What talents do I go for? Okay, Diabolist is popular. Yeah, this is a high DPS profile. Boom. Steal those talents. You can do this pretty much all the time. You want to know when to pop cooldowns as well? Boom. Logs. Go on demo. Okay, albeit it's only heroic and mythic. But yeah. Ah, would you look at that? He's popping. Is Grimroth Felguard and Big Tyrant at the start. Then he does the second one. And then, yeah, big damage. Okay, cool. That's what I need to do when I fight the boss. It's as simple as that as learning. That did not take long for me to get access to all the information I need to be able to play the game. You've seen me do it in a matter of minutes. If this was even more than 2 minutes, albeit yes, if you're sitting here reading, it will take a bit longer time. But this is simple stuff. Having a rotation helper in the game, chances are it's not gonna be, you know, the most optimal rotation. Okay, from the sounds of it, Blizzard are doing a better job than the Heckley add-on is doing, as I do remember that being absolutely wrong for a lot of specs, and if you were using it, that was an instant bench. But it does sound like, you know, Blizzard have access to, of course, a lot more data. They know what's up. they're looking at the theory crafting, as Ian's going to say later in this video. So yeah, I imagine it's a better implementation of an add-on which shouldn't be in the game really. I'm gonna get to why though, but first I wanna move a little bit further in on this this video.
Called Hekili that is very popular with a lot of players.
Skip a little
building
bit.
in a very similar version of that into the base UI that you can opt into.
Here we go.
Is also have a one-button version.
The one-button version. Now this is the problem. See, now a lot of you are gonna be like, "Oh cow, this is great. Newer players are going to come into the game because now it's easier to play the game." Okay, let's say you're correct in that. And don't get me wrong, there is definitely partial truth. For example, there are people with disabilities who would be able to use this and get through the game. A massive minority, but that is something that exists and can acknowledge that. So let's say you're correct in that we'll be getting an influx of new players. They get in the game and they one-button their way through the game. Now, here's the thing. Let's say they get, they one-button their way through all of Heroic Raid and all Mythic 10s as an example. Oh, an 1800 PvP rating. Let's use these as our examples. Then they decide, you know what? This is actually really boring because all I'm doing is pressing one button, which I can assure you, people will. I did my study for my university bachelor's on exactly this. There's a balance between how many controls you need to keep people engaged, and how many controls are out there which can get overwhelming. Now, if we got WoW on a one button rotation, the amount of controls we have is WASD, yeah, or just holding down the two mouse buttons for movement, yeah, space, and then attack. The single button is going to be called attack here. So, okay, realistically, oh, and tab as well. So we can shorten this down to mouse 1, 2, space, attack, and tab. That's 5 controls. Now, when I did testing for my project, I think my lowest bounds. Yeah, I think that was 5 controls, and it was overwhelmingly decided to be the most boring, unfun version. It didn't captivate anyone. No one liked it, and this was a simple game. The premise of my project was a fighting game. You did a mirror match between another opponent, and after every match, we'd replay the same thing, but adding more controls on. And it was as more controls were added on, that things became more enjoyable. A lot of users started expressing how they were having more fun, how they'd be more likely to play it with the higher control complexity. And I didn't get too high into complexity, so I can't tell you what it's like on the really upper echelon, but I can tell you that at the lower band, if you don't have enough complexity, people get bored quickly and they will fall off and they will not play. This is exactly what's going to happen here. So, when people get to that boredom state, when they're at the lower end of the big old flow diagram, if you don't know flow theory, I'd really recommend giving this a look if you want to talk on this topic with a decent bit of knowledge. But yeah, when people fall below into the lower bands of not really being challenged, then they're not really having much fun as well. They're going to be like, right, let's turn off one button and let's play properly. Oh my gods. There's so much in the game I have to learn. Okay. We have to go through all these guides as I brought up here. these guides, which, you know, when you're starting out, this isn't too bad, you know? Okay, yeah, this is a more complex guide. For example, maybe let's just go for, I don't know, Frost Death Knight. Maybe this will be a bit easier. A newer player might be more inclined to go for something like Frost DK. Okay, here we go. Here's my priority, and this is what I press. This isn't too bad to be learning in like LFR, LFG dungeons, in casual PvP, as in just unranked queue. But when you're at high rating, when you're doing, you know, your mythic 10s, your heroic raids, you're at like 1800s, you've got a game which now has a lot of mechanics being thrown your way. And to get to this point, you've just been pressing one button. Now all of a sudden, you've got to press a lot more buttons and keep up with all the mechanics. So what's going to happen? You're going to start failing these mechanics as you're learning your new rotation, as you're learning to play the game properly. You can't advance further because one button is designed fundamentally to not take you too high, yeah? There is a drawback to it with the GCD penalty. So if you want to get into Mythic, you got to learn your rotation. That chances are, most regulars will say, you're using one button? Yeah, I don't want you on my team. You're not demonstrating the ability to be able to perform. Harsh for some people, however, challenging content does demand a decent level of skill. So, you can't really blame them. That is how the game works. And some people will be left behind from this. But, hey, we all know what we're getting into. But, yeah. So, good luck seeing those players who go from pressing one button to pressing loads of buttons, and then they start progressing it backwards straight away. Good luck seeing them stay around. Chances are what will happen, they will see that they've gotten worse, they'll see that they can't get further with one button, and they'll just decide, yeah, you know what, this game isn't worth my time. And then, like, a new player now is not going to go and check all the 20 plus years of history of the game. I mean, even longer if you count the Warcraft games as well. They're not going to be sort of hyped to keep playing because of the story, as an example. They haven't had all the past expansions that we've had, which keeps us wanting to keep playing and playing and playing, because we've seen how awesome the game has been in the past. These guys will try it out, play it, and then, I lost progress, and yeah, I'm just gonna go play someone else. Let's go play some Diablo, you know. Yeah, they ain't sticking around, I can assure you that. But then, now going back to if this actually will get new players. Now, when I've heard of people not wanting to play WoW, too many buttons is not the reason I hear people not wanting to play WoW. I mean, let me show you a way to reduce your buttons in WoW at the moment, yeah? Watch this. Insane tech. What we're gonna do, yeah, boom. We play a hunter. It's this easy, guys. It is this easy when it loads in. Like, there is already ways to just be using very few buttons. Rep Paladin, BM Hunter, the two famous examples. Everyone knows about it. It's not hidden. And, you know, if you are a learner, it's better to learn this. Now, I know. A lot of people are going to say, oh, but what if someone wants to learn one of the harder specs in the game? Well, cool. you said it yourself. It's harder. Like, you should really be expecting it to be more of a challenge. When it's called a harder spec, you know, you should know what you're getting into. A newer player, you know, if they're gonna get into something, you say, oh, here's the spec to go for. Boom. Press barb shot. Press kill command. Press kill command. Oh, just press all your cooldowns willy-nilly. It doesn't even matter. Lol. Boom. I'll just hit that again. Oh, that's shiny. Hit that. Wow. You're doing crazy good damage. Okay, ignore the fact that I literally in, like, dead-ass PvP gear or something. Like, you know, I don't know BM at all, really. Probably one of my least played specs in the entire game, but it doesn't take much to be able to follow along and see how to play this and put out some decent numbers. BM's still a very competitive spec for how easy it is. So yeah, newer players have always had this option. They can always be running around as BM and smashing things up. They can also do it as Ret Pally as well. But there's, by nature of things, it's best to have some specs which are more complex. Demonology, as an example, used to have a lot more complexity. Used to be quite an enjoyable spec for more experienced players to play. But then, you know, we've had Blizzard's crusade of making everything easier. There's not really a spec in the game anymore which actually has a somewhat challenging rotation. I mean, Arcane's famous for, like, being known as a challenging rotation until you realise that a lot of people are gaslighting it, and then you make a video exposing just how easy the spec is, and you can learn it on the training dummy quite simply and copy and paste all that knowledge without having to do much or if any reactive gameplay at all. So yeah, there's not really anything complex for the higher ends of people who want to challenge themselves more, which I'm going to go back to flow theory here. You're now putting some of your more experienced players down on the lower end of a flow diagram. That's not good. More people are going to leave. You don't want that. Simply put, you do not want that. You don't have to have everything accessible. You know, when there's alternatives to be able to achieve the same goal, you don't have to make every route to achieving that goal be super easy. You don't. Simply, there was no need to reduce the complexity of a lot of specs they've reduced, because there's always been that failsafe of BM. It's always been the easy choice. So yeah, I just don't know what they're doing at the moment, like, or just don't know why they're doing this. Reducing the complexity of specs really is not the play, and reducing the complexity of the pressing buttons in the game just isn't good. Like, you're gonna get so many people now, and it's already a problem, where people are going into higher end content, they don't know what to do, genuinely clueless, and then they're going to be going into stuff like Mythic Plus, going in, they don't know what to do, they completely brick the key, they waste everyone's time, an hour of your day gone. Yeah, okay, that's cool. I've still got another hour or two to play tonight. Like, a bit upset that I couldn't even get a +2 done, and it took an hour. We didn't even finish the dungeon. That's chill. Let me go look in Group Finder for another. So I spend my 20 minutes in Group Finder, finally get accepted. Ooh, this nice little +4. This should still be an easy key. Oh, another group that doesn't know what to do. I'm in here for ages. Can't leave early because, you know, I'll get reported and banned. Fair enough. Mythic Plus leaving, not really the best thing to do. Getting towards the end of the key. Okay, I'll be wipe. Oh, I'll be wipe. Oh, it's been an hour now. Oh, Oh, someone went offline. Oh, and that's like 2 hours and like gone. I've only got an hour left. Surely I can try one more kit. Process repeats. You know, if Blizzard want to make the content more accessible, then what they've got to do is teach people how to get through it all. We don't need it to be trivial, like one button, smash away for everything. People will not learn that way. They'll not get good at the game. They'll end up becoming a burden and wasting people's time. People whose time get wasted, they'll just decide that the game is not worth it anymore. Simply put, another way to lose players. Just crazy. It's honestly crazy. So yeah, no, that's just all my thoughts really on the simplification of the rotations. Now I realise that's taken up a lot of time, and I've got a few more topics I want to go into, but this I think kind of bridges into the gap. Blizzard caters way too much to the whinier players, rather than building a game and saying, hey, play it or don't. You know, look at Path of Exile. Grind Gear Games made an absolutely stellar game with Path of Exile, and when people are sitting there like, oh, we don't like this feature, we don't like that feature, they're like, okay, we might make some tweaks to make it more balanced, but we like it, play it. If you look at some of the, I think it was a recent Path of Exile 2 interview with lead dev Jonathan, one of the things he mentioned is like, he has to make the game fun for him so that he is actually still passionate about it and still playing it, and like, that's a good thing. The game has to be to a point where the actual devs themselves are enjoying playing it. They're continuously going on, logging on, just playing through, seeing what's what. These are the guys writing the game, making all the big decisions. And when I say devs, I do just mean sort of like also all the designers and management, just everyone behind the decision making process of the game and actually building it as well. Having those guys playing the game is good for the game, because they'll know what's up. If they see issues and they experience issues, and they can fix them without having to really rely on player feedback. If they aren't experiencing it, then they might see player feedback of someone saying, "Oh, this is too hard. Make this easier," and then they might be like, "Oh, this is too hard. Let's make it easier." When in reality, it wasn't too hard. You know, I know I'm being pretty vague here, but there's definitely points where the player base can ask for compromises on systems, which end up being more damaging for the game than helpful. I'm gonna sort of move on from this and go into a more contentious topic. Horde versus Alliance. It was kind of the core that this game was built off of. I mean, like, I swear, we saw the trailers and it was just humans versus undeads, orcs versus elves, gnomes and dwarves versus trolls and taurens, like, the glory days. It was Horde versus Alliance. You had a place to be in, a faction, a sense of belonging, and you had a clear enemy. Whilst there were also other goals in the world to achieve, and opportunities to team up every now and then, but at the end of the day, it was World of Warcraft. You were at war with the other faction. Pretty cool stuff. That was the core that many of us bought into. Nowadays, the faction's just a decoration. What does it mean? Like, seriously, what does it, like, the only way I'd know I'm in another faction, it is that it kind of just says it here. Simply put, they might as well not have the faction system in anymore. and it'd kind of be the same game at this point. It's a bit sad, because yeah, for me, it was definitely a major selling point. Alongside that, there was also awesome storylines. Characters like Illidan, Sargeras. Peak times was Legion. I mean, I'm also a massive fan of Warlords of Draenor. Going and seeing Gromrash Blackhand, Kilrog, what's his name with the one arm? Yeah, this isn't a good look. Kargath, that's his name. Seeing all the OG Warlords of Draenor actually being portrayed in game, albeit the time thing was a bit of a contentious topic, but it was awesome to see. And definitely a lot of WoW's campaigns were just that. They felt great. They felt awesome. They looked cool. But then nowadays, like, look, we have the World Soul Saga, and it's kind of to be like, oh, the Void's coming. Potentially it's the end of Azeroth. The Legion levels of threats. Okay. Season 1, Narubar Palace. Great way to get things started, to be honest. Some people have their opinions on the raid and whatnot, but, you know, it set the scene. Season 2, the Undermine. But, the Undermine? Why are we dealing with goblins? Really? And I know, some of you are going to sit here and justify it and be like, oh, Xalatath wanted Darkheart mended. Yeah, because that makes sense. That she, like, I just want to explain how dumb that storyline is. Illyria shoots a Darkheart, it shatters and breaks in Merodar. Xalatath immediately ports away. Yeah? And so, you know, like, no, let's even just bring up the cinematic itself. So, that's an ad. Great. Yeah, thanks Adblock. Really works lovely here. But, yeah, so we confront Xalatath in Hallowfall. She's there. We break the Darkheart, and well, let's just give this a watch, and let me show you why this is so dumb. We don't have to see all of this. Yeah. Okay. Great. So. Yep. There we go. It's shattering, and boom. It explodes. So, you know, clearly the energy from the Darkheart was expelled here.
No.
That's enough we need to see. How does she still have a Dark? How does she still have it? Yeah? How? Like, how? How? And you see how one arrow thing? Just so... Okay, instant chip. Chip. So, you know, there's no way that thing doesn't explode. Even though we don't physically see shards going everywhere. That's broken, man. That is broken. Like... Come on. Realistically... As a player seeing that, it's kind of hard to believe. Like, there's a reasonable explanation for it still being around, but oh well. And then this is the sort of plot line to be like, oh yeah, Gallywix of all people knows how to restore this. Gallywix. Yeah, surely. So, yeah, I don't know. Seeing such a random curveball at a point where it's like, well, we've just had Dragonflight, we've just had Shadowlands. The stories for those expansions, yeesh. Okay. And like, I'll give Shadowlands some credit. you know, I do think that the first part of it was still pretty decent, pretty in line with World of Warcraft, and you know, I think a lot of people overhate on it because it's a popular thing to do. But regardless, just take my opinion out of it, and it's just because people say it's bad, so just go on the assumption it's bad. You know, we've had all that time of WoW being a very lackluster place. Now is not the time for curveballs and random things to like just pop up. Something else I did in Legion which annoyed me. They just brought in the Emerald Nightmare for the first season. It's like, what? Why? And people will say where they dropped off in Legion was in season 1. It wasn't a good move. It's historically been noted as a bad move, and yet they've done it anyway for War Within. Like, it's a decision that absolutely baffles me. It really does. So yeah, it doesn't feel like we're in keeping to WoW's story much at all. It doesn't feel like Blizzard's really trying to make a compelling and engaging story. It just feels like we've got patchwork stuff being thrown together to try and keep people subbing and going on for the next season, instead of playing through this massive open world and whatnot, trying to conquer deadly enemies, fight between the factions, and really what the essence of World of Warcraft was to begin with. What the game feels like nowadays, as I mentioned, it's a seasonal game. They have their big spikes of subs at the start of the season, people doing their Mythic Plus, they're doing a new raid, doing their early PvP and whatnot, and then it all falls off. Then there's the in-between patches where it adds a little bit of content, people resub to see if it's good, and maybe they'll stick around, maybe they won't. But lately, I gotta say, it does feel like the entire game has felt, well, almost the entire game has felt very Mythic Plus biased. Now, why would they do that when, in the history of the game, before Mythic Plus was out, the game was very successful. Now, I don't know if it's still true today, but I remember Wrath being like the all-time peak. Was there Mythic Plus in Wrath of the Lich King? I'm just saying. It didn't exist back then. The game was successful without it. So why it feels like every other system in the game has been negated, and Mythic Plus is the only one which seems to be getting realistic effort driven into it. It seems like not the way. Yes, there's a lot of people that do Mythic Plus. I know quite frequently some people post graphs on data to show engagement with Mythic Plus, and well, that's good and all. Great, you've got so many people running levels 2 to 10, or they're not even up to 13 for some people. What do I get there? Oh, the gear I need for raid, achievements which reward mounts, cosmetics. Do you think that maybe, perhaps in these level ranges where it's highly populated, that content, well, at least the gear side of things, might be mandatory, and for the achievements and cosmetics might be FOMO, and those players care about the cosmetics and not Mythic Plus? Now, I'm not saying that's true for everyone in that bracket. In fact, it isn't true for everyone in that bracket. There are people who push in those levels, who run those levels, who do enjoy Mythic Plus. That is a fact. But what I am saying is that the data, well, at least I believe that there's probably data being looked at and it's being misinterpreted as people loving the system, when in reality, well, you have to play it. There's no ifs, no buts. You got a Mythic Plus if you want your gear to raid. Like, that's it. That's it. But if I want to go play Mythic Plus, I don't really have to raid. I legit don't. If I want to be super optimal, then yeah, I would. But I bet that I could get 3k score without stepping foot in raid. Genuinely think so. But I couldn't get into heroic raiding, really. I mean, maybe if I spent weeks and weeks of only raid logging, I couldn't get that far. Like, just raiding. I'll have to do Mythic Plus to fill in my gear. That's the way the game works. And then, yeah, with Mythic Plus getting all the focus, what's going on with world content? Like, this expansion, we got delves. What are delves? It's kind of just a single player Mythic Plus. Like, it's just another dungeon, but I guess faster, and also not really rewarding. But it's the same thing, you know. And a lot of the stuff with old world content. Okay. Before I go on to sort of evergreen content and side content, which delves really is, you know, weird world content like Legion invasions, which, you know, lots of players going out, slaying demons, fighting a big boss, was awesome to see. We then had like the war campaign stuff, where, you know, you do a few world quests in the zone, then you'd have a sort of scenario like finale, get some rewards, big world PvP going on because you in the other factions areas and whatnot. Great, tons of fun. Now, what do we get? Well, we got Nightfall, which is attempt to kill things which die too fast, in the open world, and kill an arbitrary boss. It's like an extremely watered down Legion invasion. There's not even fancy rewards. It's not telegraphed in a way that looks like, oh, this is a big boss slamming down, get ready for a big fight. It's not. It's just, oh, things have spawned, kill it. Okay, now fly off and GG. Oh. Well, that happened. So, yeah. I don't know. I think they were kind of getting on this formula again, making good world content with the, it was the Primeless Future Elemental Storms and Dragonflight. Now, I don't normally give Dragonflight credit, but that open world content was pretty good. You'd go around, capture some points, and you'd fight a boss with some pretty decent, very visually impressive mechanics, and then you get some loot. Very cool. Now the bosses just, well, they don't really do anything. It's just a over-glorified training dummy. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's what it needs. Some more engaging bosses for these content. But, my next big point... excuse me, because my voice is starting to go at this point. But, we soldier through. My next big point goes back onto delves. And it's more like evergreen content. We need more of it. Delves are something I hope stays in the game permanently. Visions are coming back. Great. Visions were another awesome instance. You could go through, get some gear in. It was a decent challenge, and it was fun to play. Yeah? There was a progression system as well. It felt like you were getting places. It gave you something to do instead of just standing in the capital city and doing nothing. But, like, we haven't had much of that lately. Like, think of it. In Dragonflight, what could I do when I was doing nothing? Okay, there was some Dragon Race world quests, and then, oh, I could log on an alt and do it. I could log on another alt and do it. Another alt and do it. And there just wasn't much to do. In BFA, I had visions. I had island expeditions, I had war fronts. There was plenty of stuff to do. Alongside that, world quests back then were just better. They were more fun to do. I actually felt like there was a good reason for me to stop AFKing in Desert Law, fly to the north tip of Voldoon, and get 800 gold for killing a rare. That felt good. Now what are my world quests? I might get 800 gold if I collect 20 bits of sand in the Isle of Dawn. Okay. Why aren't these world quests like killing decent rares which are around the area? Those were fun to do. Like, world quests are meant to be simple, but also having them being decently rewarding is good for the game. It incentivizes people to play them, but I just don't think anyone's actually doing world quests at the moment. I don't think I've seen it in more of a dead state ever. And it's not exactly like the newest system. It's been around since Legion. It's been around at the same time as Mythic Plus. And like, I don't know. World quests, they fell off with that. And I do hope they kind of return it more to a BFA Legion standpoint, so it feels more rewarding to do. Bringing back the sort of emissary caches as well would be great. Having the thing on your map, let me just log into WoW and show you what I mean. But there was this thing on the map that was like, right, do 4 world quests for this faction, and you'll get a bonus reward. Now, even if that bonus reward sucked, it was like, I don't know, BFA war resources, you know, you weren't really getting anything from it. You still did it because it's a bonus reward, and you'd get a bit of extra rep as well. Now, like, there's just world quests on the map. If you give me a second, like, let's look. There's just world quests around the map. Like, oh, yeah. No, those are random quests. Like, so a couple world quests here. Doesn't really give much. Some here, some here. Wow, crazy. But if I go back to BFA, boom. Look at that. Look at that. Another objective. Oh, and even so, I almost forgot. Nazoth Assaults. Another bit of casual content you could do in the open world. Reset every half a week. There were, I believe, was there 2 at no, there's only 1 at a time, but the other zone would have its own sort of assault. So yeah, there'd be 2 going on at once. There was always stuff for you to do. But now, like, legit, what do I do right now? Please someone explain to me what I do right now. My options are, I can go to a delve. Yeah, I can do a delve. Cool. That's great until I've like done them all on 11, and then, oh, that's the content done. No reason to go back to it. I can go queue some casual PvP, or I can go find a group, do some rated as always. I can do my usual raids and Mythic Plus. And outside of all that queued content, which has always been in the game, like we all know, sometimes you don't have time to do it, etc. Sometimes like, relying on other people just isn't it. What do I do now? A couple world quests, some obscure rares, maybe do some rep grinding for pretty unrewarding rep grind. Hey, I could go do Nightfall, but that's about it. That is legitimately it. Like, it's just a bit sad, really. It just doesn't feel like there's much I can do for casual content. Making a lot of the old stuff evergreen, I think, would be a good step forward. Island expeditions, keeping them with fresh new rewards would be great. Horrific Visions, same story. War fronts as well. Bringing back stuff like Legion invasions would be very cool. Even, and I know how people love old dungeons, to the point where, you know, we've now got it baked into the Mythic Plus system permanently, and well, realistically, it's absolutely miserable to play. And yeah, Shadowlands Season 4 was like, I'd say where Mythic Plus really went downhill when I speak to people about Mythic Plus, they're always like, Legion, BFA, great times. Especially BFA, actually. A lot of people have been praising BFA Mythic Plus. But, yeah, no. In its current state, nah. All these old dungeons in, some of us have played for, like, years. It's like, yo, if I look at my last few seasons, like, what? I did Workshop to Death and Motherload. I played a lot of BFA back then. Theatre of Pain, I did to death. I needed the Soul Letting Ruby, man. Like, this was my most played dungeon in Shadowlands, which the expansion where people were crying that we needed old dungeons to come into the rotation because we spent the entire expansion playing the same dungeon, and it being back? Really? Like, why? And it's not even that. Like, my issue isn't what they bring back, it's the fact that they bring back stuff at all. You know, this is a new expansion, and I want to be playing this expansion's dungeons. That's what I care about. That's why I bought the expansion. So why on earth we're getting the old expansion dungeons, I don't know. I don't get it. It's not more engaging. It's actually really boring for a lot of people. Some people didn't do it back then. You know, can be a fun experience. There's a better way to do it. You know, in my opinion, you kind of put time walking on a weekly rotation. Yeah? And you do Mythic Plus for all the old expansions. Every single one. Yeah? It will, like, slow process because there's some dungeons which were never in Mythic Plus before. But you do that, and then you add in the current season's loot pool, yeah, to a chest at the end of a dungeon. Yeah? Simple as. Like, you can get anything from any of the dungeons by doing a time walking Mythic Plus dungeon instead. That way, you're not overcomplicating things. You're not getting all this, like, oh, it's Legion time walking, we have to spam Blackroot Hold for our healers. That was not good. Having the different loot was not the way to do it. If people really wanted to do old Mythic Plus, yeah, which a lot of people are claiming they do, then they will be more than happy with a system like this, where they, like, every week's on a different rotation, and yeah, they can go and get the same loot as what's already in the season, and they can go enjoy the dungeons, the content that is there. But if they're not happy with that, then chances are they don't actually want these old dungeons. Let's be real. Now, speaking of people, yeah, I'm going to start wrapping up soon, but last couple points, yeah? We have the meta chasers. My fellow content creators, I'm talking to you on this point. Your incessant posting of tier lists is not helpful. You know, not everyone has to play uber optimal, yeah? And I know some of you are going to be sitting here saying, like, oh, but Cal, you were saying, like, all this stuff earlier where people need to be playing well when you're talking about one button rotations and whatnot. Yeah, I was. And I stand by that. People should know how to play the basics of the game. But they should not be forced to be like, oh, we're doing Mythic Plus. I need my Vengeance Demon Hunter. I need my Discipline Priest. I need my Unholy DK. I need my Fire Mage, and I need what is there something else meta? I don't know. Whatever the god comp is, there's always this god comp going about. People always talk about it every season now. It feels like why can't you just grab friends and push? You don't have to force the meta down people's throats. Pretty much before season even starts, there's so many tier lists which like, oh, this is the best thing for you to do. This is what XYZ. Like, stop. There does not need to be all this meta pushing going on. Really doesn't. WoW doesn't have to be competitive in every level of the game. Like, there's gatekeeping in +2s, man. How do we gatekeep based on spec in a +2? How has the game gotten to this point? I think it's because we permanently keep pushing down. You need to play the spec, otherwise you won't be optimal. There needs to be more of, hey, let's play whatever we want and blast. I understand in the top level, you have to play meta. That's how the game works, yeah? You know, the Race World First guys, the M+ title pushers, the rank 1s in RBG, 2v2, 3v3. Well, okay, only 3v3 can have the rank 1. RBG is Hero of Fee, etc. You know, then of course want to follow a meta. But, you know, outside of that, like, I don't know why there's so many people who have to publicly push tier lists saying, like, oh, this is the meta to do this, this, and this. Like, sharing advice, great. Definitely share advice. Some of these tier lists, though, they've got to stop. They actually have to stop. There's a lot of telling, like, people interpret, and so many people will, and you can't just say, interpret it this way, because no, they will still see, oh, this is lower in your tier list, okay, I won't invite that. And then that's another player gate kept. GG, great usage of the tier list. Just what we wanted. People actually want to find the meta. There's sites for it. You can go on Warcraft logs. You can go on Radar. You can see what's performing best. But now, my next point. Let's stop with the betas, the PTRs, the alphas. Close it all off. A lot of people are going to be mad about it. But what about rage testing? Yeah? How can we make sure the devs know that everything's balanced before we get in? Look at the countless bugs we get anyway. Yeah. You know what? It's better to have a game filled with bugs and it gets patched within the first few weeks, but you can also be exploring new stuff in this season. You can be the one to try and make things work, rather than mindlessly going, oh, what's on the guides? I followed that. Zog and go. Don't get me wrong, if you don't want to be that player who's sort of like finding the thing, you don't have to be. Because in a couple of weeks, people will make their guides and the knowledge will be out there. But to start off with, like, let's get some exploration. You know what really killed the hype for this season for me? The fact that it was spoiled everywhere. Like, knowing exactly what's going to happen in all these WoW seasons before the content's released, with all the constant spoilers. I mean, there's literal channels just constantly spoiling. I see on X and YouTube and all that, and it's like, why? You are killing the hype. And then Blizzard themselves are also really bad at this. They're coming out and they're being like, oh, next content update, it's Undermine. You're gonna go fight Gallywix and do all the stuff with the goblins. There's no mystery to it. It would be so much cooler if I logged in on patch day and it'd be like, we got a quest, there's shit happening down in Ringing Deeps, we don't know what's going on, fix it all, and then go down that rock and it's like, oh my god, it's the Undermine? Yo. That would have hit way more different, rather than, okay, let me just do this prerequisite quest line so I can get to the Undermine, let me get everything unlocked so I can get into the raid, and then let's go hit things. We're forgetting the journey and only focusing on the destination. And like that just drives things up even quicker. How many people are just raid logging like within the first couple of weeks of the season? This season, at least a lot more people in my friends list are, and a massive amount more people are just not playing, who have been telling me constantly that my concerns been having is over the top and the game's in a good state. Yeah, okay, so why aren't you playing anymore? Hey? Yeah. Okay, some of you are real life, I know. There's not a jab at you. I'm just saying. Do being a bit more open-minded to some of these concerns and push it to Blizzard and get people to fix this. You know, We don't have to sit through the game when it's in a miserable state. Yeah, we can definitely see it. In a more enjoyable state. So now there's one more thing I want. Two more things I want to go over. Two more things I want to go over. But this is the main one. So we're talking about new players, yeah. How is a new player gonna feel when they see this? This is their gear. That's, for a new player, just looking at that, confusing as. And that's not even like, you know, a lot of the best gear in the game you can't even get access to, man. That you can't farm. You have to gamble for it in the vault. Mythtrack gear from Mythic Plus, as it currently stands, is currently one of the dumbest systems I've seen. Like, really, you want access to how many item levels is a Mythtrack compared to a Hero Track? This is 678. That's not fully. What have we got? 665 to 678. 13 item levels, man. Like, that is big. That is big. Every Mythtrack piece adds 1 total item level to your character. So if you're in full Hero Track pieces, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. No, it can't be that big. No. Okay, 13, no, I'm wrong. It's just under 1. It is just under 1. So, yeah, okay. My bad. So, look, every player is either 15 or 16 pieces equipped, depending on the weapons they're using. Yeah, that's big. And the fact that you can only get these pieces, well, from Mythic Raiding is fair enough, you know? That makes sense. But Mythic Plus Vault, you can't even target farm this. Like, no. At this point, either don't let Mythic Plus Vault get to Mythtrack, or let Mythic Plus drop Mythtrack gear. Simple as. But even better, why do we need so many different tracks? Personally, I think the Awakened track we had in the Dino season, or the Bullion season, whatever, was way better. Way better when we had that in Dragonflight. It was just one track, you get your crests at different thresholds, so there was still a reason to push higher and higher. Yeah, like, honestly, the Valor system had its flaws, and I think the crest system really stopped people from being like, okay, high-end people just spam 2s, spam farm 2s, and then go upgrade their gear and ignore it. The crest forced people to go into different brackets of content. It's all good. So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we don't need all these different tracks anymore. It's so many instances of the same piece of gear that we have to keep refarming. And at this point, Mythtrack isn't really keeping us... I don't think it's keeping many people still subbed to the game. But it's just an addiction mechanic, really. I just don't see the justification for it. Maybe someone in the comments will, but it's just frustrating. Yeah. That's all I really have to say on Mythtrack, really. Yeah, I guess moving on. Could really do with the devs, you know, listening to people a bit more, honestly. There's a lot of players giving really valuable feedback for the game, I feel like. You know, let's just, if I go look. If you know the PvP situation, you'd have heard of a man called Helenka. Yeah. Absolute Chad. Absolute legend, you know. He was very communicative. We could actually have someone to talk to about WoW PvP and give our feedback into. Then he left, of course. Fair enough. Makes sense. That's how life works. What has Blizzard done since he left? Nothing. Day 652 of asking the Warcraft team. That's a Warcraft account. That's Ian Hazacostas. That's Blizzard. Like, yo. Can this be sorted? You know? 652 days. 652 days of being constantly tagged. Of there being lots of support for this as well. And yet Blizzard still have not added a dedicated place for us to talk to them about PvP issues and whatnot. Devs aren't listening. They really aren't. But yeah, I think at this point in the video, like, I don't know. There's more I could say. Like, you know, I genuinely think this game's community is things are dying quite hard. If I want to go look for keys, that did not take long for me to scroll through the entire list of keys which are listed at the moment. Like, and if I want to go for some like lower stuff as well, there's not much. Most of this is all like a double-digit number. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a lively game for me. That does not seem like a lively game to me. How many raids do we have going on at the moment? That's pretty good. That, like, okay, I'll give it credit. That's quite a good few raids. I was expecting less. How many arenas can we get? Oh gods, that's so bad. And just bear in mind, I have all of these groups filtered on when I scroll through all this. Can we get any rated groups? Okay, to be fair, it is 10:30 in the morning in Britain. So this is not peak gaming hours, and it's a Friday. So, you know, give it a few hours and things will be lively. But I'm telling you, man, at least for Mythic Plus, it feels rough trying to get groups. There's not really too many groups I find, especially in the lower brackets these days. I don't know, it just feels lower than ever before. And sure, people post statistics saying it's doing well, but I'm playing the game and it doesn't feel like it's doing well, you know? Like, what I read and what I experience is completely different. It is absolutely bonkers. And I'm sure some of you might actually be watching this video and be like, well, you're chatting shit. I'm experiencing something different. And, you know, by all means, I'm interested to hear that. Like, if you're experiencing accounts to me, then say so. It's good to get forms of feedback, all from different angles and whatnot. Like, perhaps maybe everything I'm saying in this video, a lot of people are like, no, this isn't the way. This isn't the way. But yeah, I think let's wrap things up. I want to give a bit of a closing statement. So, yeah, with reduced complexity and the one button stuff, horrible move. The game has been built on epic experiences, and there's nothing epic about pressing one button into a boss and getting it down. There's nothing good about reducing complexity so hard where more and more people are falling lower in the flow diagram when there's no need for it. There is actually no need for it. There's already simple options out there for the newer players. Having more people docked into that group, not going to be helpful. And the fact that the transition out of doing stuff like one button is going to be very difficult for some people, to the point where they'll probably quit. Not the move. All the meta stuff, honestly, would be nicer to see some of that cold back a bit, but hey, I doubt that's really going to be changed. This is gaming, the modern gaming, where people want to go full meta. The spoiler stuff though, please just privatize your PTRs and stuff. Like, I don't know, ban data miners at this point. Like, just nah. Having everything spoiled before the season releases is not fun. More evergreen content into the game, you know, keeping some of your old content alive as well, just updating the rewards and whatnot, and scaling would be amazing. They did it for the Mage Tower, people loved it. Yeah, just do it for everything. Returning to the core would be nice for the game. However, I do think perhaps that ship has sailed. I don't think we'll get Horde vs Alliance back, and I don't think we'll ever truly come back to the real essence of WoW's story. However, if it is done, then my gods, would I be in full support of Blizzard for doing that. And yeah, I also think Blizzard needs to have more of a spine with their decision making. It's their game. World of Warcraft is their game. They need to make it good and integral on their end. And if this is what they call good and integral on their end, then hey, it's what it is then. Cool. But it does feel like a lot of the time they're reading people whine on forums and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry that you're having a negative experience. This is going slightly wrong for you. Let's completely alter the game for you. And then there's other people who just get drowned out by the vocal minority. And then there's also a lot of people who just don't want to talk, and they'll see it and they're like, yeah, goodbye. And yeah, addressing upgrade tracks would be great. And also seeing less of a focus on Mythic Plus and more of a focus in literally every other form of content in WoW would be great. Okay, maybe raiding. I think we had an off raid this season, but normally raids are pretty good. Less weak aura dependency would be amazing. In fact, you know, completely curbing all the add-ons. I think Blizzard are trying to make it so we just don't need many add-ons, but yeah, I think there's they're unfortunately tackling the add-ons which weren't needed anyway. But yeah, I think a lot of these add-ons could definitely just be banned at this point. Yeah, there's too many add-ons in WoW, way too many. So seeing that being curbed is a great thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing them hopefully get to a point where we just don't have any more add-ons in the game anymore. And yeah, that's kind of it for my great long big rant. I hope the game keeps getting good, keeps getting better. I've loved this game for years. I still do keep coming back to it, you know. I love my demo log. It is fucking awesome. There's no other game which captures a fantasy like demo log. So that's what keeps me playing. I've also loved the past of this game. Some of the campaigns we've been through have been absolutely incredible. Some of the raid fights I've done has been insanely fun. And I do love the absolute thrill you get from PvP in World of Warcraft. Just every arena win feels so good, man. It really does. It really does feel good for me. So, yeah. I love that stuff. WoW is a banger game. I'm gonna keep it 100%. But these are my thoughts on how I believe the game could be better, and sort of some of the grievances I've had with just things surrounding the game. Thank you for watching. I would ask that you please keep things, what's the word, cordial in the comment section. It's not quite the word I was after, but you know, respectful. Let's not throw insults around. We can be constructive about some sort of stuff. I'm sure people have plenty of points to discuss. I pray no big content creator starts doing a react video and then I get a load of hate waves my way. Do I say like, subscribe, and push this video to the algorithm, or do I just try and stay in my own corner here? Yeah, push this to the algorithm. You know what? I'll take the hate raids to see the game get better. Yeah, worth it. I want to see WoW being in its best form. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Been a banger. Hopefully this will be the last time I do a video like this, and we can just move on to more appreciating the game and enjoying the game. there might be a few smaller videos where I touch on topics similar. Because, you know, I'm probably going to feel like there was some stuff I wanted to get off my chest, which I didn't get off in this video. But yeah, this video, I kind of wanted to be the big, I want to see about better video. So yeah. Right. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you in the next video.